You won the league title first season, 87, 88. I think Liverpool only lost 2 games along the way. Do you see any comparisons a little bit with what Jurgen Klopp's constructing at Liverpool at the moment in that regard? You know, going this very strong start to the season, getting into the business of just not getting beaten.
Well, I mean, it's only we've not even gone through half of the season. You know, we're not even at Christmas time yet. To talk about comparisons, come the end of the season, we see what the comparisons are. But they've started well, and listen, there's no comparison between football now and football back then.
Yeah.
Because of course, you know, now it's probably much more difficult now because now you got so many top teams who are able to beat you. You know, back then, yes, they had a few good teams, but you know, we were the best team. In fact, Everton were probably our nearest rivals.
There's probably a few younger viewers who are
like,
what?
I know, yeah.
Everton,
But Everton
really?
had won the league the year before.
Yeah, well, yeah,
so
exactly.
and my brother-in-law will keep reminding me because he's a big Evertonian. So there are no comparisons at all then, because I suppose then we had the best players, whereas now you've got Man City, look at that. So you have good players playing for all the other teams. So it's much harder than it was when I was. So it's difficult to compare. Yeah.
So 1990 ends up being Liverpool's last league title. When do you know? Because you've won the 2 league titles with Liverpool. When do you know that it's on, that it's happening, or is it one of those things that you don't think about, or it was so ingrained in the culture that it was expected?
Well, it was expected for us to challenge all the way to the end of the season. And I suppose in the first 4 or 5 years, that's what happened. Mid-90s, we kind of felt. Mid-90s, I felt, even, you know, coming into January, February, when, you know, the team from 95, 96, 97, 94, 90 to 97, I never felt we'd win the league. Even though come January, we were 3rd or 2nd and we were close, I always felt we'd fall away because, which is pleasing for me this season, because people have been saying to me now about, you know, the team's not playing as well as they did last year attacking wise. I said, but they're grinding results out, and that's what you got to do. Yeah. That's how you win the league, not by scoring 4 goals every game. You win the league by grinding results out, which is what they're doing now, which is what we did in the past. And that 94 to 97 team were fantastic, the games against Newcastle, but I've always felt we'll drop points in crucial moments. So you don't really know, but what you get a feeling in terms of the way you're actually playing to be consistent enough to get the right results. So as much as, regardless of whether we're playing well or not, even in, you know, the early years, there are times when we may not have played well, but I knew we would pick points up and we'd be consistent. Whereas from 94 to 97, even when we were playing really well and winning 5, I knew we would not be consistent throughout the whole March, April, May. Whereas this year, it's giving me so much hope to see the way they're playing, knowing that we're not going to score goals, but we're not going to lose.
Yeah.
So when you say when do you actually know, you get a feeling in terms of the consistency you're showing over a period of time. It's not how well you're playing or how bad you're playing on one particular occasion, but it's knowing that you will consistently pick points up.
You mentioned the Newcastle games a little bit earlier, and what was that? That the first 4-3 goes down as one of the greatest games in Premier League history.
Hated them.
But yeah, must have hated them.
Hated them. You know, because proper footballers don't want to do that. It's basketball. You attack, you score 4, we attack. It's great for the fans, but, you know, I'm not saying that we want to win 1-0, but I want proper football, whereby we attack. That's why, you know, I've talked about the Nottingham Forest game being a 5-0 game, and it's not my favourite game, not because we won 5-0, it's because we played proper football. When we're 5-0 up, we didn't elaborate, we didn't showboat, we didn't show off, we played as if it was 0-0. Yeah. And that's what I always say. You play the game, you don't play the occasion, you don't play the score. And what typifies that, which has got nothing to do with what we're talking about, was Pep Guardiola. When Raheem Sterling, they beat Man United 2-0, 3-1, whatever they're doing, and he started to showboat. And at the end of the game, Guardiola came on and started having a go at him. Yeah. And he's like, well, what's the problem? He's going, that's not what you do. Yeah. That's not what you do. It doesn't matter whether you're winning or you're losing, you play proper football.
You say, you know, you don't want to see those type of games though as a player, but there must have been that moment, you know, it's the famous commentary of Barnes, Collymore closing in. You like that feeling.
But look, if you are an attacker, of course you want to play in those games, but if you're a defender, not. Yeah. So it's when people say to me about Liverpool last season, it's great because we're scoring 4 goals, but we're conceding goals. And this year they're saying, oh, it's a bit disappointing because we're not. This season's much better. I'd much rather have them doing what they're doing this year. So to answer your question, if I was Robbie Fowler, Steve McManaman or Stan Collymore, I would have loved the game. But if I was the midfield players who had to run up and down or the defenders, I would have hated that game. And that's one of the ones I was.
Amazing.